right, everyone. It is time to enter Sandman Sports. I'm Eric Bierman. I'm here with fellow Sandman Nation longtime member Pat Klett. And of course, with us is the godfather of all things pools and the one who started it all, the man, the Sandman, the myth, the legend, the very real Mr. Bill Sanders. Welcome, gentlemen.
What's up, everybody?
How are we doing today?
Great. Can't wait. Let's go.
All right. Well, this is our very first episode, and we are excited to get things started. This podcast is going to be focused on three primary topics: sports, sports gambling, and sports pools. With a lot of fun, irreverence, inappropriateness. We do have Pat with us, of course, and some pop culture sprinkled in. We'll talk about any recent happenings in the world of sports, and we'll certainly provide you with our thoughts and picks on key games and where we see potential edges to be gained each week. And of course, we'll talk about sports pools, what they are, what the cool ones are, and strategies involved with winning them. Later this episode, we're going to highlight our top futures bets, our surprises for college football season coming up, and our top 80s movies. And we have a few other surprises sprinkled in. So before we get into all that, I do want to take a step back, gentlemen, and just talk about how all this got started. Bill, I know you started Sandman Pools in the late 90s and have done an incredible job growing them to the huge following that they are today. I started playing pools in 2006. Pat, when did you join?
I think it was like 2016.
2016?
Maybe a little earlier.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been around almost a decade too. So you've seen a lot of the growth here as well. And I know you've done exceptionally well in the pools too. Bill, I know some of our listeners are familiar with Sandman Pools, but very few probably know the origin of how all this really got started. Wondering if you'd just walk us through a little bit of how Sandman Pools started and how it became the awesome Sandman Nation that it is today.
Yeah, for sure, Eric. This has just been a lifelong passion of mine. I love sports. I love team sports and athletics, and kind of marrying those things up in the spirit of competition, I think was something that I took hold of early on, middle school days even, and into high school, and used to do, of course, everything on pen and paper, mailing things out actually originally. So as technology improved and things happened, we moved more and more things online, and that really allowed us to spread the word to more and more people. And then it just becomes 6 degrees of separation with the Sandman. So somebody references something to someone else, I meet somebody, that person invites Pat to the pool, that person, invites their friends and neighbors, relatives, etc. And so it's just grown exponentially over the years, and something that I'm really proud of.
Yeah, that's how I got in there. Was a friend of a friend in Minneapolis, and then I started bringing in some friends, and I think it's grown through word of mouth quite a bit. What would you say has been most rewarding to you as you've seen this grow over the decades?
There's so many things. I love the interaction that I get with people on a week-to-week basis. Some people that have been going through stuff in life too, that these pools really lifted their spirits. Those types of things I really love. I think the thing I'm most proud of, though, is how much money we've raised for charities, fundraisers, etc. through the years. People have donated winnings. We've set up pools to raise money for a specific charity. We've raised money for my local sports, youth sports teams. So that type of thing is something that I feel proud of through the years. And I think at the end, the last thing that I would just focus on and highlight is this community that we have built of 3,000-ish people. How much just fun and entertainment that it gives to all of us. And I think, it keeps us connected too. I'm not a guy to pick up the phone and call my buddy and talk for an hour. But when it comes to, did you see that game last night? Or can you believe that bad beat in this game? Those types of things keep us close. And you guys obviously living in different states, and I still feel like I know you so well. I think that speaks a lot to this type of activity that we all love so much.
Yeah, I love that word community. I know you and I have talked about that a lot. I interact with a lot of players as well, and I feel like I know them even though I've never met most of them. You and I have only met one time, which was recently, and that was wonderful. But we, I think, both consider ourselves to be very good friends, and that connection has grown over the years because of this sense of community that you've grown through Sandman. So very cool. Question for you, Bill. What are you most excited about in the future going forward?
There's just so much that we've been building behind the scenes too. I can't wait to get all this stuff out to the community. New games, new features, new ways to interact with people. I mean, I'm just excited about so much of this and so much of the work that we're doing in terms of shifting the model from just sports gambling stuff to sports content, I think is going to be really fun. And seeing the engagement that we have from everybody already, and then just knowing that there's so much more coming, I just absolutely can't wait for everybody to get involved.
Pat, anything you want to add about your experiences with Sandman Nation over the years?
Oh, I love the concept. I love everything about it. I prefer it to doing any kind of online gambling. I like that I can just throw a little bit of money at a pool and let it ride for a whole season. I'm not chasing my bets throughout the year. I'm it's a good time. I've done a couple pools with neighbors. It's great to get together and talk sports. And my whole life has been about sports and watching sports. And so, what better way to pay less attention to my family and work? Spend less attention on my work, and this is the place for me.
Your priorities are in the right place.
Thank you.
Is what you're saying.
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks, Bill. I know the three of us are really excited to do this podcast together. So let's get this party started and move on to our next segment. We are going to start with best future bets for any college, pro football. This can be over-unders. It can be Heisman Trophy, Super Bowl, any division winners, any future bets. We'll get into weekly bets and lines and all of that as we get into the season. But today, before the season starts, we're going to focus on our three favorite future bets each. So who wants to start us off?
Yeah, I could go ahead. I mean, I got a 4-team parlay. Vikes to win the Super Bowl, Wild to win the Stanley Cup, Twins to win the World Series, and T-Wolves to take home the championship. I mean, it's what else do you need? I'm a little bit of a homer.
I can't wait to put money down on that, Pat. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I do. College football, the teams I'm looking at this year, I feel like Michigan definitely going to take a step back. I sneaky feeling that Ole Miss is going to come through this year.
All right.
Yeah.
So you like Michigan? You like Michigan on the under and Ole Miss on the over?
Ole Miss on the over.
Okay.
That's my play.
All right. Bill,
Bierman, you want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, much in line with Pat's first parlay, you guys are going to get a sense, if you don't already know it about me, my homerism is going to come out throughout this podcast, I'm sure. So my first is Seahawks over 7.5 wins. First of all, I think they may have forgot that the season has expanded to more than 16 games. I mean, 7 wins seems ridiculous to me. And also the thing that I really love about the Seahawks, because I'll be serious for a second, I love defense. And when the Seahawks have had their best teams through the years, it was on the back of the defense. And I think they brought in the right coach, Mike McDonald. The guy can coach defense, offense. We have skill players all over the place. And I just feel like, maybe it's only 8 wins, but give me the over 7.5. That's my first one.
I like it. I didn't research it a lot, but the Seahawks, that does seem like low for them.
Doesn't it? I mean,
it really does.
8-9? You're telling me they can't get to 8-9? I don't know. Seems ridiculous to me. But again, Homer,
you have faith in Gino,
100%.
Huh? Is that what I'm hearing? Gino?
I got faith in Gino. He's got weapons all around him.
Just have Charbonnet run the ball.
He's Pac-12. Shout out. Appreciate that, Pat. Yep. Well done. Yeah, no, I love my Seahawks, and I'm always rooting for them. I feel actually like I'm able to be a realist as a fan, but in this case, that number just, if it was 8.5, I would be really not feeling as strong about it. But 7.5 just felt so low to me.
Yeah.
Do you keep going, Eric, or
Yeah.
did you want to do
Why
your?
don't we all? Well, you want to alternate? Let's alternate.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah, yeah. Fire yours out, and then I'll go.
All right, I'm gonna go a little bit of a homer pick too. I don't think throughout the year I'm gonna be quite as much of a homer as you, Bill, but it'll come out a little bit, I think.
It's
but,
impossible except for Pat.
I absolutely love this one. T. Higgins on the over 875.5 yards receiving for this season. He's been in the league 4 seasons, and these are his numbers the first 3 seasons: 908, 1091, and 1029. Only not 256 yards, but that was in 12 games. And several of those other seasons were shortened seasons as well. This was also with an injured Joe Burrow last year and a backup QB toward the end. This year, he's got no Tyler Boyd to contend with. Who the heck knows what's going to happen with Jamar and a very healthy Joe Burrow? I think the Bengals are going to be really good this year, back to 2022 form. I would say book the over on T. Higgins.
I like that. Seems good. If he can stay healthy and Burrow stays healthy, how does he not?
Yeah.
I like it. My second one, this is not pure homerism, but I'm going to take just one little step back. Kalen DeBoer, awesome head football coach of the University of Washington last year, took him to the national championship. We won't mention who they lost to in the championship. Eric, I know one of your happiest moments of your sports life, but Kalen,
Go Blue.
Yeah. I mean, they deserved it. The better team won. I can say that confidently. Awesome for the Huskies to get there. They just weren't as good as Michigan was last year. And this year, Kalen DeBoer in the offseason goes to Alabama to become their head coach. And I was looking at Alabama plus 9.5 wins. And I just feel like Alabama, with Milroe back at quarterback, they're not going to take a big step back ever in personnel. They're still recruiting like madmen down there. And Kalen DeBoer can flat out coach the game of football. I'm telling you guys, he came in to a messy Husky situation, and it wasn't a rebuild. It was instantly that the Huskies improved. And I just think he's going to take that same level down. Big shoes to fill, obviously, with Nick Saban, but give me the over 9.5. I mean, if it was over 10.5, I'm taking the over on Alabama.
I feel like I could coach Alabama to 10 wins.
Exactly.
A lot of flea flickers and trick plays, but we'd still be able to get 10. I mean, it's every year. It's just rinse,
I think
repeat.
if they put us 3 in as the coaching staff, we're getting over 9.5 wins. I really do, Pat. I think you're right.
When was the last time Alabama's over-under was 9.5? I mean, that seems incredibly low.
Yeah, and why?
I mean, Kalen is an incredible coach.
And
loses Saban.
Their quarterback's back. I mean, Jalen Milroe, I'm not saying he's all world, but I mean, the guy was legit. I don't know.
By the way,
that seems low to me.
I don't know if you guys saw, but one of Kalen's biggest priorities coming in was refurnishing and updating Saban's office. Go look at the pictures. He says it looked like his grandma's house, and it did. It was so old school. It was like 1970s office. It was bad, and now it looks so freaking modern. So I think that's worth a win right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. This next one for me makes me really nervous. I love the over on this, but it's Rutgers, and Rutgers just generally makes me very nervous. The over under is 6. I do not see how this team does not hit at least 7, if not 8. You got Shiano. He's a proven leader. I do like their quarterback transferring from Minnesota, Ethan Kaliamakis. I'm sure I pronounced that perfectly. I think he's going to bring some stability and some confident leadership there. But that's not why I love this. No Ohio State, no Michigan, no Oregon, no Penn State, not even Iowa's stingy defense. They start with Howard and Akron. That's 2 easy wins. They have nobody tough on their schedule. 6 wins is a certainty. Book it.
They play
There's
Washington.
the love for the dude. Come on now. It's funny because on the flip side, I actually really like your analysis has got me thinking you're onto something there. I was just thinking about the Huskies and I was looking at their schedule and I chalked up Rutgers as a win, right? I mean, it's interesting how the dynamic is different from like the Big Ten traditional guys like you guys, and then the total Pac-20 or Pac-12. I almost said Pac-10. Love out here on the West Coast, but it's going to be a whole different world for the Huskies this year. I know in the Big Ten, and Schiano can coach. I actually love that. That guy is just tough, hard nosed.
He's so good. And I mean, Rutgers, they're thanking their lucky stars more than anybody with the taking away the divisions. I mean, they had to play Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State every single year. They don't have to play them any of those three this year. Yeah. And I like it. You mentioned Washington, coming into the Big Ten. I think that's overblown. Big Ten's a different beast, but Washington, Oregon, USC, UCLA, they know how to play football. They're going to be fine. They may take a year or two to acclimate a little bit to the different style play. They're going to be fine.
Well, and they better start spending some NIL money. Otherwise, I think it's going to be super tough to compete with your hated rivals, of course, but Michigan as well. Pat, what do you think about the Gophers this year?
I don't think about them much.
Yeah.
I really don't.
The boat? You're not going to be rowing?
Yeah, are you rowing the boat, Pat?
Nah, no, I've never really rowed the boat. It's just, growing up, Gophers played in the Dome. There was no atmosphere. It wasn't really a big draw for me. So, I do like the new stadium. I hope that they can get something going and really, I think the atmosphere there could be really cool. But they don't, it's just so hard with the transfer portal and recruiting and we lose so many in-state players to Wisconsin and Iowa and bigger schools, Ohio State. It's just really hard to compete, and which is kind of tough. I'd love to see more parity in college football. Every year it seems to be the same thing. We're writing the same script. Georgia, Alabama, all these big schools. It would be nice, and I'd probably jump on that bandwagon if it happened. If they did have a good season, but it's hard to invest any time in that team. I tend to focus more on the pro game when it comes to local. Yeah.
Eric, do you think Rutgers paid somebody off to get that schedule set up?
Yeah.
I mean, wow, what in the world?
I think they used some of their NIL money to get that taken care of. Yeah, I'm telling you.
That's crazy.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I really do think 7 wins is their floor. All right, last one. What do you got for us, man?
Well, I guess a segue from NIL would be my most hated school team. Wrap it all into one. It's the Oregon Ducks. Absolutely hate everything about Oregon and the Oregon Ducks. So my third pick is going to go a little bit against that, though, because I was looking at the Heisman Trophy and saw Dylan Gabriel transfer to Oregon is at plus 700 right now to win the Heisman. And I'm telling you, that guy's lifting the trophy. He's doing the thing in New York, end of the year, market. It is, in that offense, that team, you saw what they did with Bo Nix. This kid is super talented. I hate everything about the fact that they're going to just roll my Huskies this year down in Autzen, but that team is going to be pushing hard for the national championship and probably a Big Ten championship as well. Ohio State obviously has a lot to say about it. But Dylan Gabriel, that's my Heisman winner, plus 700. I said the odds were a little bit up and down, but I saw it at 700, and that seems like easy money.
I love it, dude. The Heisman always scares me. I've never been a big guy to bet on the Heisman because there's so many ups and downs throughout the season. An injury, obviously, but he gets 2 losses, he's out. But I do like that. I'm guessing, is he the favorite? Is 7-1 the favorite?
Yeah, he's the favorite right now. Yep.
Yeah, I've picked Oregon to win the Big Ten. So I think they're going to beat Ohio State, and I think they're going to win the Big Ten. And if that's the case, then I don't see how he doesn't win the Heisman.
Yeah. How about you, Eric? What's your last one?
All right. Coach Hoodie. after 24 seasons and 6 Super Bowl rings, called it a career. And I don't think the Patriots are gonna recover. I love the under 4.5 wins. Belichick only had 2 losing seasons during that stretch, but one of them was last season. It is not a good team. In comes Jared Mayo, who I think is going to be a good coach long term, but he's got to deal with an offense that ranked 27th in total yards and 30th in points per game. They're abysmal. Yeah, Drake May, I love him. I think eventually he's going to be good. Not this season.
No O-line.
You guys know who their number? Do you know who his number 1 wide receiver is?
Don't bring him out there. Just leave him on the bench.
Couldn't tell you.
Number 1 wide receiver. You may know this, Pat. I think this guy came from the Vikings. KJ Osborne is his number 1 wide receiver.
He's all right. He can play.
Wasn't he like a little slot
not a number
man?
1? Yeah, he's not a number 1 receiver.
Yeah, that's wow.
He doesn't instill a lot of confidence in me as his number 1. I do like Drake, but I'm not feeling this year. I have actually a similar feel to Bryce Young and the Panthers last year. I also like Bryce, and I actually like the Panthers this year to have a turnaround. But they struggled to 2 wins. They also lose their defensive stud Matthew Judon to the Falcons. And they open. This is their opening 4 games: Bengals, Seahawks, Jets, and 49ers. I think 0-4 is inevitable. I just don't see them recovering after that. I think the under looks pretty solid.
I like it.
All right, well, let's move on to our next segment. We're gonna this is gonna be called Flips and Flops. So we're gonna again kind of look into the future a little bit for college football specifically, and we're gonna start with our flops. So our flops are any team that's currently in the top 10 that we think is gonna drop out of the top 25 by the year end. I think, Pat, you had mentioned Michigan. I know that is a popular pick in this realm. What are you thinking there?
I just think new coach. Well, I mean, he was obviously with them last year as an assistant, but to step up without a starting quarterback, I just think it's going to be a different year, different story for them altogether. So yeah, I'm fading Michigan a little bit to start.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are, and I don't know what to think of them, to be honest with you. I'm pretty objective when it comes to them. I really am. I think they could surprise some people. I think their defense is still going to be really good. I am nervous about their offense, especially their quarterback. I think Donovan at running back is going to be good. Beginning of the season here on September 7th, that's going to tell us a lot, I think, about both of those teams. But they have a tough schedule. They play Oregon. That is at home, but they play at Ohio State. They've got Washington in Seattle. They could easily lose 4 games and drop out.
When did they play Oregon? Is it late in the year or early?
It's like October. It's October.
Okay, so not going to be too cold.
No, it won't be too cold. It won't be too wintry.
Pac-12 teams that are coming into the Big Ten, maybe late in the season, get some snowy, grind them out.
Yeah.
Defensive games as opposed to, Pac-12 historically, I think of USC, Oregon, these guys airing it out, run and gun.
Right.
See what happens when it's a slog down, slower battle in the trenches.
Yeah, agreed. My fade, guys, is I would love to say Oregon. Of course, already established it. I'll be rooting for them to drop out. It's not going to happen, especially with Dylan Gabriel there. I think Dan Lanning's doing a great job, unfortunately. But Notre Dame is my pick. So if I have a second team through the years that I just don't like, it's Notre Dame. And I don't really know why, even. Maybe it was because they were always on NBC Sports or something. I really, honestly, I don't know. I don't know why I have anything against them. When the Huskies played out there, a bunch of my buddies went, had a blast. It's apparently just an awesome college town, an atmosphere, touchdown Jesus, everything. Notre Dame's my pick. Seems like they're overrated all the time. This one was hard though, Eric. I don't know about you guys. I feel like I'm grasping at straws a little bit. I really don't think any of these top 10 teams are probably going anywhere, but Notre Dame is my pick.
Sandman, I think you're brilliant because you have the same pick that I have. I was shocked when I saw Notre Dame's win total at 11. I'm not sold on Marcus Freeman. I think he's overrated. I think he made questionable decisions last year. They struggled in big games. They beat USC. They handled them real well, but they fell short in what I think were their three toughest games last year: Ohio State, Louisville, and Clemson. They return a strong defense. I also don't like Riley Leonard. I think he was good at Duke, but he reminds me a lot of Sam Hartman coming in, who came in from Wake Forest last year. That situation. The schedule isn't insurmountable, but it's challenging. They open at A&M. They face a tricky matchup against Louisville. They host a tough Florida State team, and they end the season on the road at USC. And I'll actually be there. My son goes to Miami of Ohio, and he is on the cheerleading squad, and they are going to visit Notre Dame. So we're going to be at the Golden Dome and Touchdown Jesus and do a little tailgating there. So it'll be cool. I think Miami's going to give them a tough game. I think Notre Dame's going to win that game, but I think they're going to struggle.
Gotcha. Yeah, well, good pick, Bierman.
Yeah, you right back at you, brother. All right, so our next one is flips. So this means teams that might be outside of the top 25 right now that are gonna finish in the playoffs. Are gonna make the playoffs, which means their fans are gonna be doing backflips. They're gonna be pretty happy. Who you got on this one, Pat?
I went with North Carolina. I just feel like they always creep in to that top 20 spot every year. I can't give you a million reasons why. I just feel like every year North Carolina seems to rise up, at least early on in the year, and who knows, maybe this year they can stretch it out into the top 12. But again, tough to say. I was looking at teams outside the top 25, and it was just like, man, it's a tough call. I could not tell you exactly who on this one. I didn't have any feel other than I agree. North Carolina always sneaks up there.
Yeah, I thought this one was even harder for some reason. For me, it's also just, Pat, like you said earlier with the NFL, right? We haven't even seen these teams play. So we're going off this kind of arbitrary ranking system early in the season, but we don't even really know. Plus, nowadays we have the transfer portal and all the things happening around there. I mean, my beloved Huskies, I feel like we have a brand new team with a brand new coach and coaching staff, and it's just really difficult to figure it out. So this one was hard for me.
It is tough. I thought about Iowa State here. I like the Cyclones. I like Matt Campbell. I think they're going to surprise, but I'm going to go with Boise State. I think they're the I don't even know what it's called now. Power Four. Is that what we're calling the Big Four conferences? I think they're the non-Power Four representative in the playoffs. There's one team that makes it from that, and I think they got the best chance. They got a experienced roster. I like their quarterback in Taylon Green. They have a strong defense, favorable schedule. They play in the Mountain West Conference. I just think they have the best chance to be the non-Power 4 rep, which will get them in the playoffs.
Yeah, well, Bierman, again, we're kind of on the same page. So Boise State was on my list. I actually ended up going, though, completely homer, shock no one in the world, but I actually looked at UW. And the reason that I looked at the Huskies is, again, yes, I know we lost a ton of players to the NFL, which is always a good sign of your previous year's success. But we did lose our quarterback to Atlanta, which is crazy. Also, Pat, with Cousins going down there, that just seemed like such a strange draft pick for them. We love Penix up here, but they also lost their coaching staff, right? So you'd go, well, why are they going to flip? Well, because the reason I look at it is, again, they've got talented players coming in here. Jed Fish coming up from the University of Arizona, where he had a masterful rebuild of that program, which has been pretty much shit for the last as long as we've been living, right? Here or there, they have a good year, but he can turn teams around. We have unbelievable offensive and defensive coordinators with all that NFL pedigree. So, Eric, you mentioned Belichick, right? And in your under for New England. Well, Steve Belichick, Bill's son, is the defensive coordinator of my Washington Huskies.
Wow. I like
and
that.
Bill is apparently, I mean, you see him all the time now. He's actually wearing Husky gear. And he said he's going to be present and very much a part of the coaching staff from sideline, right? Not on the sideline, but I mean, he'll be involved with helping his son be successful. And then Brendan Carroll, who is Pete Carroll's son, is our offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. So it's like you get these guys, they don't have the pedigree yet, but they've got the gene pool and they've got the DNA. And so hopefully that translates. But I'll tell you what, it's an exciting atmosphere at Montlake right now. Everyone's excited about the Huskies. The expectations are lower than they've been in quite a while. That's my team to sneak into the top 12. And I hope I'm right. That would be awesome.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, the good news, the Big Ten is probably going to get, at least 3 teams in, maybe 4. So if they can sneak out a few wins that weren't expected and they finish at 9-3, 10-2, they're going to be in it. So yeah, I like it.
I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm hoping. Yeah, I'm hoping so.
All right. Well, we're going to move on to a fun topic here. We are all got a little bit of age on us, few years on us, and we're going to look back to the 1980s, and we're going to rank our 5 best movies of the 1980s. We talked about the 90s as well. We love our 90s too, and I'm sure we'll do a segment on that at some point in the future, but we're going to start with the 80s. So guys, let's start at number 5, and let's do 2 at a time. So when it's your turn, do number 5 and number 4, and then we'll go to the next person, and then we'll come back, do number 3 and number 2, and then we'll finish with our top 1. So Pat, you want to start us off with number 5 and 4?
Yeah. Was it only 5? Because I got like 40.
I know exactly. This was really hard. I'm looking at my list down. I have 12.
I went
right
10.
now.
Yeah, I went 10 deep. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I've rewatched a couple of these, and I was like, I just don't get why I love this movie.
Great.
But for me, these were the movies that we would go to the video store, rent it. 3 months later, we'd go back and we'd rent it again. But my number 5.
What's a video store?
It's anyway.
By the way, hold on, Pat. Sorry to interrupt you, but I was just in Bend for a soccer tournament, Bend, Oregon, in Central Oregon, and they actually have a Blockbuster.
Yeah, they did a documentary on it. It's like the last remaining.
Oh, is that right? Oh.
Yeah.
I thought they closed it. I thought it's still there.
It's still there and it's open. Yeah, our hotel was just down the street.
I actually own Blockbuster stock still. Never sold it.
No way.
No,
get out of here.
Yeah, a friend of mine is like, the breakup value on Blockbuster is, you should bid it. I don't know. I bought it at put $200 at it. Still got like 300 shares, so I probably own
awesome.
That store. For me, number 5, I went with Goonies, and it's a classic up in your neck of the woods there, Bill.
Yep.
Just a great adventure film as a kid. And then the number 4 for me was Say Anything. Anything with John Cusack. I always love Cusack. He's great. It's classic.
Those are good ones, man.
If you know, you know, Bierman.
Exactly.
I just know I don't want to buy anything processed or sold, sell anything bought or processed. I just want to spend as much time as I can with your daughter, sir. Classic.
Classic.
So Goonies 5, 4, Say Anything.
All right, love it. Bill, what do you got?
Man, it's so hard because I'm still debating between 5 and 6, but I just could not go with my top 5 without putting Raiders of the Lost Ark in there. So Raiders of the Lost Ark, my 5th selection, and so many reasons I love that movie. Harrison Ford, I mean, is there an actor that was better for a character? I don't know.
He is phenomenal as a DM.
So good. So good. So I put that in as my 5. I won't mention my other one because if we get into some honorable mentions or something later, I'll leave that other one. But my 4th movie is another one that's just so classic to our youth, right? And for me, that was Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Michael J. Fox. So good. So as I was going through and doing this part, I just kept thinking about Doc Brown and 1.21 gigawatts and like all the different things, in that movie that just flux capacitor, the Libyans, right? I mean, just so many things from that movie. So that's my 5 is Raiders, and 4 Bierman.
I love
what do
it,
you got?
man. You guys have some good ones. All right, number 5 for me. 2 poor schmucks partying at a luxurious beach house in the Hamptons with a dead guy. What's better than Weekend at Bernie's? Come on.
Nice. Yeah. That's awesome.
And number 4 for me, this one, I just watched this the other day. It is one of my all-time favorites. Gritty, intense, action-packed. Arnie in his star-making role and one of the most iconic lines in any movie. Terminator, baby.
Nice. I didn't throw any Arnie, but Pat, did you have any in your 40?
No, I didn't have. I never got into the Terminator.
Really?
No, I don't.
Wow.
Actually, I don't even think I ever watched it. I never watched it.
Oh, God.
What?
No.
What?
Pass.
Pat, dude, go watch it tonight. Go drive to Bend,
Pass.
Oregon.
I don't think I'll ever watch it.
Oh, my God.
Ever.
Drive to Bend. Drive to Bend.
To Bend.
Get
Get it.
Show
card.
him your stock.
Show him my
your stock,
card.
yeah, and your card.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I'm out.
Pat, that's one of the most stunning things I've heard.
Pat,
Guys.
dude.
Really?
All right.
Wow, okay.
Tell us 3 and 2 then, because that's gonna just infuriate me if we keep talking about you not watching. The
Number 3 for me was Weird Science. I liked Kelly LeBrock, and I just thought it was funny. The concept was funny to me. And then number 2 for me is Better Off Dead.
Oh,
You like John Cusack?
Love Cusack movies, and Better Off Dead.
so good. In my honorable mention. Yeah.
I love when they pull up to the stoplight
so
and the guys next to them. They learned English by watching ABC.
Let's hear it.
It's a classic confrontation. 1, Lane Maya, and he's putting on the gloves. Yeah, it's good. And they got that Everybody Wants Some Van Halen when he's working at the burger joint.
I want my $2.
I want my $2. And right. There's so many good things about that movie.
The exchange student, and Ricky, so good. And then she's talking about
Ricky. Are you enjoying your stay in our town? She's something else.
Pat,
yeah.
I got one back at you, buddy. I've never seen Better Off Dead.
What? No.
I did rewatch it. It doesn't hit like I thought it would. I rewatched it a few years ago, and I was like, it's hard. It's hard to rewatch things that you hold so high on this pedestal.
Yeah,
but it's good.
Yeah, if Pat commits to the Terminator, I will commit to.
We're all gonna have movies. Yeah, we got to go back and see. This is incredible to me that you guys have not seen. Not that you didn't like them, you haven't seen them.
No. All right, what do you got for number 3 and 2, Bill?
So number 3, come on. I know everybody's seen this one, and no one's going to debate me on this. Number 3 for me, Die Hard. Mm-hmm. Classic, right?
It's a good one.
Come on. I have a personal connection a little bit. So I visited Nakatomi Plaza, which was, I don't know if you guys know this, but it's the headquarters of Fox Sports. It was, at least.
No.
Still is.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
So when I worked at Microsoft for MSN.com, I traveled down there for work. And I got to go to the Nakatomi Plaza. And I was like, this is insane. Yeah, it was cool to be there. Anyway, how good is Bruce Willis?
So good.
The one-liners in that, we're still constantly saying them. Obviously, I'm sure you guys can remember. Anyway, that's my number 3. And number 2, almost number 1, but this is my number 2, is The Princess Bride. Do you guys know?
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's
a great
mentions.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just one of those movies,
too.
right? Holds up to this day. So many good one-liners, right? And the story, whatever. But Andre the Giant, Carrie Ulwis,
oh yeah,
Enrico Montoya.
Robin Wright, right? Enrico Montoya,
Inigo Montoya. Prepare to die.
Robin Wright is Princess Buttercup. Columbo, Fred Savage, right? The kid is Fred Savage. Columbo, what's his name?
Carrie Elwes.
Yeah, Carrie Elwes. He's anyway. Yeah. Number 2 is Princess Bride. Love that movie.
All right, so my number 3 and number 2 are both sports movies. Number 3, It's Hoosiers. Norman Dale, Jimmy
Oh.
Chitwood.
Hoosiers. I
Every
didn't even
kid's
think of
dream
that.
of making the winning shot for the underdog team.
The
Gotta
picket
go with
fence.
Hoosiers.
I've never
picket
seen it.
Exactly. Shut up. Yes, you
I'm
have.
kidding.
You are,
I'm kidding.
you
I'm
are
kidding.
such a liar.
Okay, I've seen it. I've seen it.
All
Good
right, number
pick.
2.
That's a great one.
Number 2. America against the commies. Apollo tragically dies. Rocky saves the world. Rocky 4. Gotta be Rocky 4.
Wow.
Best
Number 2.
sequel ever. Yeah.
All right.
Love it. I watch it all the time. All
That's
right.
classic.
What's your number 1, Pat?
I got to go with The Breakfast Club. This one we watched probably 15 times growing up. My brothers and my sister, they would make me recite the lines constantly. And,
that is a good one. So classic 80s, too.
Yeah.
Right?
And the soundtrack was great. Well, the one song.
Yeah.
I don't know what the name of it is offhand, but Don't You Forget About Me. I don't know what.
Yeah, that's a good one.
For me, my number 1, so I am a huge war movies guy, love war movies. And for me, and maybe not even just the 80s, it's right up there for me. All-time movies is Platoon. Yeah. Platoon. I love Oliver Stone, so well directed, but the cast, I mean, unbelievable. How Charlie Sheen looks like a baby. Tom Berenger, Willem Dafoe, just, I mean, that movie to me is like the good versus evil in this setting. I mean, of the Vietnam War, just absolutely unbelievable film.
And the song,
one of my
Adagio for strings at the end of that. That's a good one. I just wanted to sound smart because I know the name of that.
That scene with Willem Dafoe, though, unreal. Yeah, unreal. So, Bierman, that's my number 1.
That's a good one. All right, mine's a repeat from one of your guys.
Terminator 2.
It's not only the greatest action movie of all time, but it's also the greatest Christmas movie of all time.
Come on.
John McClane kills all the terrorists and saves Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. Die Hard. Book it. Number 1.
Love it. Bierman, we're on the same page.
Dude, we are, man. We are. I love it.
We didn't even compare notes or anything. This is impressive.
This is good.
Mm. Yeah, they're okay.
And then there's Pat.
So what about
Terminator?
So Pat had 40.
Yeah.
Bierman, you said you had 12. Like what? Yeah. I got to know what did you guys have at? Because I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I went through this and I was like reshuffling my list and doing all this crazy stuff. I'm like, what am I doing? Just put your top 5 down.
So there's one I'm shocked nobody said. That's Top Gun. That was on my list. Ferris Bueller. That's a good one.
Ferris Bueller in my honorables.
I would say that. And then another one that I wasn't expecting anyone to say, but this was 6th for me. Maybe I'm a Sly Stallone guy. I don't know, but I love the first Rambo, First Blood. I love that movie. So that was close.
Yeah, I had Stand By Me.
I also had Stand By Me on my honorable mentions. Yep.
Yeah, because our age, right? Like we were right in that same. So maybe that's why I related to it a bunch. It wasn't like we were going off my buddies looking for dead bodies or anything, but it was like it's such a good movie. Yeah.
It's a goocher.
Yeah, such a good movie.
I had Indiana Jones, Back to the Future, like you did. Stand By Me, Caddyshack. I mean, Vacation, classic. Airplane, Strange Brew. Did you guys ever see the movie Strange Brew?
Oh yeah,
I did. Strange Brew is good.
Take off, eh?
Like my brother, who's a cop, said, if you find a mouse in your beer, you get a free case of beer. What else? Field of Dreams and Bull Durham. I thought baseball. When you were saying sports movies, I thought you would go there. And Return of the Jedi.
Wow. All right.
Love it. That's a fun topic, Eric.
Yes, we will do more topics like that every week. We'll do a little off the beaten path type topic. All right, we're going to transition to our next segment, which we're going to talk a little bit about our pools. As mentioned, we do a lot of pools, and we thought it would be fun to just briefly share 3 of our favorites, one for each of us. I'll start. For me, it's the high roller pool. And for those that may not know what that is, it's basically there are 15 games. It's a mix of college and NFL games with the lines. You pick the winner, and then you put your confidence points, 15 for the one that you're most confident in, 1 for the least. Most points for the week wins a weekly prize amount, and then most points for the season wins. And I think we pay top 4 or 5 depending on the number of entries. You know, it lasts 17 weeks. It's a marathon. I feel like the best people and those who take it the most seriously and do their research typically win at the end of the season. But you can also just get lucky and win a week and win some money. I love it.
I love that one too. Pat, didn't you play in that one?
I did play it. I'm
with
now
Pete
in and Tree.
James.
Yeah, I'm now in the low roller pool. I think they quietly kicked me out of that pool, but it was hard. It's hard doing that pool with other people. I mean, if you
trying to agree,
trying to agree was tough. But I love that.
Well, not just the picks, but then the confidence.
Then the confidence,
right? Because that's even makes it tricky. Yeah,
I
love that one too.
Towards the end, we ended up in it. You know, at first we were debating each week, each game, debating them and trying to come to a consensus. And after a while, I was like, all right, you pick 5, you pick 5, you pick 5, go.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's a fun one. I actually played in this guy's pool way back in the day, and it was called the Weekly Spread. And that's kind of where I got the idea for the high roller. And it was big entry fees. And I mean, at least back in the day, it seemed like a bunch. But such a fun one to split with people because of the banter you get every week. But it's next to impossible to all agree on the same page. But the good thing about that, I guess, is that like when Pete or Tree would miss, you could probably talk some shit to him, right? Like, or vice versa. Yeah. Pat, you were so sure about this one, that type of thing. It's fun.
Well, that's a tough one though, with 3 people.
Yeah. Bierman, for me, my favorite is Guts. Is my favorite pools that I've set up through the years are the ones that are sort of a mix of that risk versus reward. I love that concept, right? And it's similar even in like if you think about playing golf or in other things that we do, probably just activities wise and fun in life. That perfect mix, because it's pretty easy to go through 12 weeks of a college football season and pick a winner each week, right? I mean, you've got Alabama might be a 45-point favorite in their first week, right? Or, the Huskies are playing Weber State in our first game. And it's like, I don't know, that spread's going to be monstrous. So it's easy to pick winners. But the thing that's so beautiful about Guts is that you have the spread points and you're trying to get the highest score. So if you pick Alabama and their 40-point favorites, sure, you're going to advance, right? But you're going to get minus 40 points for that spread versus, hey, maybe early in the year you've got a rivalry game. I don't know. I don't know the schedule well enough off the top of my head, but the Huskies are playing the Cougars in like the 3rd week of the season now because of the Pac-12 dissolving. But that'll be a fairly close line. So you might want to take a chance and pick a team, right, that isn't a big favorite, but you still have to win the game. And then the other thing that's so fun is you only get to pick each team once. So it's like a universe of 40 teams. So it's not everyone in NCAA Division I. And so I just love all those different elements. And that one's just been a blast. And we've seen the participation grow exponentially over the year. I think a lot of people, once they hear about the format, they're like, oh, man, I got to play this. And, we have guys that might play 10 entries just because they love it so much. Pat, how about you?
My latest favorite is I do love high roller, but my latest favorite is the Ben Harper. I like get the fake bankroll. Everyone starts with the same amount. You can make a few picks. I like that the lines come out on, where they come out Tuesday morning. Tuesday morning, and then we get a few days to see, those lines are set, and then the lines in Vegas can be moving, but those lines stay the same. So you're trying to find out what's moving and what lines are moving. It's fun to see. I mean, who won it last year? That guy had like 11, turned $100,000 fake money into 11 million.
70 million.
70 million. Yeah.
70 million.
70 million. Yeah. Brandon Lewis.
Yeah.
Shout out to Brandon Lewis. Yeah. That guy was a machine last year. Yeah. I mean, unbelievable run.
And for those of you who may not know, the Ben Harper Memorial Pool is named after a player who played for years for us and passed away tragically overseas, protecting our country. So it's a great, it's cool nod to him. But it's a pool where you get 100,000 fake dollars and you bet it throughout the season. It lasts through the Super Bowl. So to go from 100 grand to 70 million, like Brandon did. And by the way, I heard Brandon, that's the second time in 5 years he's won.
Yeah,
BHM.
it's awesome.
That's
Unbelievable.
impressive. Yeah,
and
that's a great pool too.
You can do, we didn't mention it, but you can do spread plays, money line plays, over unders, and you can also do combination parlays, right? So you can do up to a 4-teamer parlay bet. And so I think to what Pat was saying, so many people like the Ben Harper because that sportsbook style pool, because it allows you to just put your entry fee in and then have all that range of bets and plays that you can do over the course of the year. And I used to accept 20 plays a week, but I've actually cut that down because it was so much work to do up to 20 plays for, so many entries. But it just allows, you can do a variety of things, I think, which people really enjoy, right? I can tell you right now, certain players that have played, Eric, for all these years, I can tell you exactly how they're going to play in week one, right?
Yeah.
Like this Steve Berg, Mike Mulaski entry, they're going to do one spread bet.
No.
They'll do 10
for 100 grand. Oh.
10,000 on a spread and 10,000 on over under. And that's it. And they just slow grind all the way through the season. And they've been in the money a bunch of times. So they, that's their system. It's just, grind. Anyway, it's a fun one, Pat. Love that.
Probably the pool. It's probably the pool I'm worst at of all the pools, football pools. And we have 18 pools this year that we're offering. I never do well in it. You know why? Because I try and double my money to start with. I'm very aggressive at the beginning. And sometimes it pays off for a little bit, but eventually I have a bad week and then I'm chasing and I'm just not patient enough for that pool, man. You gotta have patience. It's a long pool.
Yeah, I agree somewhat, but I've also seen guys do really well. We have several other players that have had a lot of success, including Ben Harper, had a lot of success in the pool, and they were very on. So you kind of just have to have your mentality, Eric, I think.
Yeah.
You jump up in chips, and then that just gives you a lot more flexibility. So I've seen it work both ways. But one other thing I just wanted to highlight real quick that Pat mentioned that I love about Sandman Pools and pools in general is the game theory aspect. And I love hearing about how people talk about the lines come out on Tuesday. We don't have to make our picks until Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific. The line movement throughout the week, right? Like, what are the sharps on? What are people doing? Was there an injury? Because the lines are fixed. We don't switch them like you would at a Vegas sportsbook. And so people take advantage of that. And that was one of the things Brandon talked to me a lot about. And then one of Pat's neighbors, a guy I love, Pete Swartzbaugh out there, Pete has also really been on that bandwagon lately. And I think Pete has finished second twice in a
couple years in a row. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pete,
yeah.
I've seen Pete. So, I've been over to his house and he's got like 5 computers, 8 magazines spread out. I mean, he does his research. I'm more of a field player.
Yeah.
He's good. I go pick his brain, try to get some intel.
I know I mentioned we have 18 pools. Bill, are there any others that you want to just briefly highlight they're excited about?
Yeah, I appreciate it, Eric. So the one of the things that I wanted to highlight is a big jump up from where we've been. And one of the reasons is because we're introducing a whole bunch of new types of pools into the mix. Think about it as a bucket. It's really a player pool. So we're introducing one this year, which I think is going to be really fun and exciting. It's called Touchdown Jesus. This pool, I think people have just been, the reception for this thing has just been awesome so far. So the gist of the pool is that you're going to pick 5 guys every week. Cannot pick the same player twice through the whole season. If one of those 5 or more scores a touchdown, rushing or receiving, you advance. So can't be touchdown thrown, right? A quarterback can run one in, and that counts. But that pool is going to be a blast. But one of the things that we've been doing is we've been investing a ton of time, energy, and money into the back end of what we're doing in our pools. And what this is allowing us to do is automate a lot more things. which is going to bring real-time scoring to all you guys that are playing the pools. It's also going to allow us to set up and do some of these pools that I maybe have dabbled in the past, but it was so much manual work that I just couldn't keep up with it. And so we're introducing a whole bunch of player pools like the Touchdown Jesus. Think of a weekly fantasy pool where you pick your lineup and then you can't pick the same player twice throughout the season. So some of those types of things. I'm just really excited about some of the changes that we're bringing on. And I think people have really been receiving these well. And participation, I expect, is going to be through the roof, which is great from a total pot standpoint.
Well, Bill, one of the pools I love is the Top Dog that I'm doing right now, the baseball picks, where you pick 5.
Thanks.
But I think that would be interesting where you can't pick a player twice, because a lot of weeks it's like, well, I'm just going to pick Judge, Soto, Ohtani,
Judge,
Bobby Witt.
Yeah.
You know, it seems to be the same picks, but if there was a way to do that with the Top Dog, that would be pretty sweet as well.
I love that, Pat. Yeah, that's a great idea. I love that. I'll have to think about that for 2025. Major League Baseball.
Just do it.
Yeah, I'm excited too about all the ones that you mentioned, Bill. If people want to learn more, where should they email you at?
Yeah, mail me at bill@sandmanpools.com. That's the spot to reach out. I can send you full invites and details. And if you have any questions, glad to ask or glad to answer those for you.
All right. Well, we are coming toward the end here. We are going to do a segment that I'm excited about, a little cautious about here. We've got our buddy Pat here is going to lead us in this called First Thought, Best Thought. Bill, I have no idea what to expect here. So
no, me either. And this is, that Homer Simpson meme where he like disappears into the head. That's how I'm feeling right now before Pat has the mic.
Here's the great thing about this is you can edit this and delete it if it doesn't go well. All right, everybody, America, thanks for joining. It's First Thought, Best Thought, and today we're brought to you by crack cocaine. Folks, if you like crack or cocaine, try both of them together. Use the promo code BLASTOFF, and your first one is free. And also by Summer's Eve. It's always the right time for freshness, especially on a hot summer's eve. Try our newest scent, Spicy Nacho Dorito. All right, here's how the game works. We got 5 questions. Answer all 5 questions, then I'll tell you how many of your answers match up to mine. Are you ready to play? Today I have with me, as always, Bill the Sandman Sanders and Eric the Beerman Bierman. Are you ready, Bill?
I'm ready.
I'm going to ask you 5 questions. You have to answer them. It's rapid fire, so if you do not answer in time, you'll hear the buzzer. And here we go. Ready to go. Who wins the World Series this fall?
Dodgers.
Julia Roberts or Natalie Portman?
Portman.
More total touchdowns this season, Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, or Corey Seager?
Tyreek Hill.
Who wins in a fist fight, me or Caitlin Clark?
Caitlin.
Bill.
Yeah, sorry, Pat.
Most missed player on the PGA Tour that jumped over to live?
John Rahm.
Nice. See how you did. Who wins the World Series this fall is the Yankees. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah.
Soto and Judge.
Yeah.
Come on. Julia Roberts or Natalie Portman? I will accept either both or Julia Roberts. So you're 0 for 2. More total touchdowns this season. Who did you say?
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill. Okay. And Corey Seager plays baseball. That was just to see if you were paying attention.
Okay. All right.
Actually, it's JJ. You should know. Come on.
I know you're a Vikes guy.
Who wins in a fist fight, me or Caitlin Clark? The answer is no one wins in a fight. Violence is not the answer. And
of course, yeah.
How did Roadhouse not make the top 5, by the way? Okay, go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Most missed player on the PGA Tour, Bryson. People want to see the bombs.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Call.
So
actually, yeah. 0 for 5?
No, he had 1.
Jeez. Yeah. All right. Tough start.
For what it's worth, Pat, I would have answered all the ones that you did. I'm just letting you know.
Well, you have 5 questions of your own. So here we go. Eric, are you ready to go?
See how you do, Bierman. See how you do.
All right. Who will have a better season, Josh Allen or Trevor Lawrence?
Josh Allen.
More wins in September, Chicago Bears, Green Bay Packers, or Chicago White Sox?
I love that.
I'm gonna go with the Chicago White Sox. I'm feeling it.
Okay. Which team with a new coach will have a better transition? Alabama with Kalen DeBoer or Michigan with Sharon Moore?
Whew, I'm gonna actually go with Alabama. Sharon could be freaking suspended. Who knows? I'm going with Alabama.
All right. Cool or uncool collecting sports cards as an adult?
Uncool.
All right. Which team is more likely to get the number 1 pick next year? Patriots, Giants, or Panthers?
I gotta go Patriots since I picked them on under.
Wow. All right. Who will have a better season? You said Josh Allen?
Yeah.
All right. I had Trevor Lawrence. Sorry.
Can I see these like in print and the timestamp, please? Your answers.
I just make it up as we go along. All right. More wins in September: Bears, Packers, or White Sox. I said probably Chicago White Sox. So you got one. You are now officially our winner. Team with a better transition: Alabama. I said Bama. Cool or uncool collecting sports cards as an adult? Super cool, especially if you get like a Todd Papelbon rookie or like a Kelsey super refractor. Funny story, I did just start collecting again because my nephew got me into it, and it is pretty lame.
Oh, nice.
It is pretty lame. So it's not like it was back in the day. They got too many different variations. And then the final one, which team is more likely to get the number 1 pick? Patriots. You got that one as well. Eric Bierman, you're our winner this week. Wow. Congratulations, Eric. Good job. You win back on Summer's Eve.
I am honored to win today's challenge, but I am a little disappointed, Pat. Why did Sandman get the question about the hot chicks and I didn't?
Oh, it was just random. Sorry. Next week, I'll try to cater it more to your personalities.
All right.
Just remember both next week. Remember both.
Oh.
Yeah, both. Yeah.
Right. The answer is both.
All right, gentlemen, believe it or not, we have come to the end of our podcast today. We hope everybody enjoyed today.
Back to back, doubleheader.
Do it again. I got nothing going on. I got no friends.
Love
I'm just here in my basement collecting baseball cards.
All right, everyone. We hope you enjoyed our very first podcast. We promise we will get better. Please check out our website at entersandmansports.com. You'll find all kinds of information. We've got this podcast. Other podcasts will continue to be there. We have articles. We have expert picks, our Sandman legend picks. We've got quick hit videos from Sandman players. Check us out, and we will be back next week for another episode of Enter Sandman Sports. Peace out, everyone. Thank you, gentlemen.
See ya.